Hello everybody and welcome back to the Undertale build. This is where we're trying to build an absolutely massive recreation of Undertale in Minecraft. I'm currently standing on Sansa's house, which we made in the last episode, and this video we're going to try and make the giant Undertale swamp area, and also we're going to be working on new home with cliff designs. We've got a bunch of ruins rooms done, basically a lot, so buckle in. If you enjoy this video, make sure to subscribe, and if you don't enjoy this video, share it with someone who has no standards. Either way, let's get into the video. Room_water12. That's what this giant underground swamp is called in the game files, and it really doesn't leave much to the imagination in terms of its name. However, this room is one of the most iconic rooms in the entire game in terms of its visuals. This area is absolutely gorgeous, and if we're to do it justice in Minecraft, we're going to have to come up with a block palette which is equally special.
So the only room in Waterfall we've made before this point was this room from back in episode 6. Where we decided to use a lot of moss blocks and a lot of lush colors to really create a certain warmth in an otherwise dark and empty cavern.
But comparing the aqua colors from the fan art to the lush green colors that we've used in this room, it really becomes clear that the palette we're using at the minute just won't do. We need something fresh. Now the aqua colors are the easy bit. The Nether update gave us plenty of vibrant textures to choose from, and the recently added Skulk actually gives us a really nice detail block. However, I still wasn't quite happy with the palette until I came up with possibly the greatest thing I have ever come up with. I decided to get rid of all blackstone from the build and replace it all with coal blocks. I got some funny looks when I suggested this. Once we realized I was an artistic genius, we started laying out coal along the entire floor of where the swamp was going to go. And yes, I am stealing Doja's time-lapse footage because I did lose the replay files for this bit. Don't worry, I do have an actual time-lapse coming up. I just had to fast forward the initial bit because I didn't have the footage. So we'll start our time-lapse from, shall we say, here. Now, is it just me, or is this room kind of fancy? Look at it! It might be a bit difficult to make out because YouTube's compression makes dark things very hard to see. I might try and tweak it in editing, but it might be a little difficult for you to see. But I'll try my best to kind of show it off.
So we've got the bright aqua colors that have been carefully illuminated. We've got candles under the floor. under the carpets to kind of light it up in a precise way. We have these crying obsidian bits, which we didn't really expect would work very well, but looking at this build as a whole, with the crying obsidian just popping out, it's It's just a magical thing to look at. And then I also came up with this principle of detailing, which basically involves putting random different colors, like diamond blocks, prismarine, with all kinds of different things under here. And basically, once you put the skulk over it, it kind of creates an entirely different texture.
So yeah, all in all, I'm pretty happy with the build, although I will say that I am colorblind, so it's quite possible that I see something good and everyone else sees something like this. Like seriously, it's a problem. In the ruins, I can't tell the difference between magenta and purple terracotta, and sometimes pink is a bit confusing as well. And for the ruins, that's a real problem. Anyway, where was I? Ah yeah, did you know Discord has golf now?
Yeah, air's kind of annoying. Ah! Oh, I almost got a hole in one. I'm just getting put... Guys. Do you see what's happening? I found a design fault with the game. I can't move. Help!
Oh, while I'm here, I'm actually going to use this dramatic backdrop to sell out. If you're enjoying the video right now, subscribe. Please, I'm desperate. Doja's going to pass me in subs. Help! If he passes me, I'm going to be sad. The only reason I have this channel is so I can feel superior to my friends. And if he passes me, I don't know what I'll do. I might even have to upload. And nobody wants that, let's be real. If selling out doesn't work, I do have a plan B, but I'm hoping it won't come to that. Anyway, back to the video. The only thing I've made in New Home so far has been this proof of concept build that I made back in the last episode. Essentially, I tried to make a lighter palette cliff design than anything I've tried before, using calcite as a base and then using diorite to add some detail. And basically what I decided to do was try and expand that proof of concept to see if it would hold up on a larger scale. Of course, in New Home, you always think about the city itself, but never the cave surrounding it. And with New Home being absolutely massive, we're going to have to do a lot of cliff designing. So that's why I wanted to make a larger scale concept build, just to see if it would hold up on a larger scale. And as you can see, I'm kind of making a tiered garden design almost, where you have just different levels of flat mossy ground in between quite steep cliffs of calcite. I think it makes a nice contrast to the more diagonal sloping cliffs of Snowdon. Now this is the sort of build I would normally reserve for its own episode, but I kind of ran out of steam because I wasn't sure what to do with the detailing. You see, you've got a cliff this size, and I just felt that if I kept on placing diorite the way I have been, it would end up just looking like a complete mess, with no apparent structure to it. So I'm not quite sure how to go from here in terms of detailing. This is why I really need your help, because this palette is not familiar to me at all. So if you know any interesting techniques you can use to detail these sorts of cliffs, please let me know, because it's quite an awkward texture to work with. The best place to get in contact with me is through our Discord, which I'll link down below. Now there's been a lot of new people checking out the build recently, and one of the questions is always, you know, are you using World Edit? And of course the answer is no, we're simply placing all of this by hand. To be fair, I did try and cheese the system once. Basically, I got my friend who can drag click. If you don't know what drag clicking is, basically you drag your finger over your mouse in a certain technique, and you can generate absurd CPS, and you can place blocks really fast. Anyway, so I got him jump boost 10, and then told him to drag click blocks. And there he goes. He could place blocks quickly, but the problem was it left ghost blocks, and when he built a wall with it, it ended up looking like Swiss cheese.
Lovely cheese, Gromit.
But other than that, I would say this looks pretty cool, because if you stand back here, this is where you'll come out the elevator into New Home originally, and if you look to this direction, you just get this massive landscape, and then you'll have the city in every other direction. I think that could look really, really cool. I think that's a nice design. There's also something else I haven't shown in Snowdon until now. I didn't talk about this originally because this build is actually Doja's, but I wanted to talk a little bit about Techno. One day when I time-lapse the surrounding area, I'll talk about Techno a little bit more fully, but I just want to kind of say that He deserves a tribute on the Undertale build because without Techno, there would be no Undertale build. So back when I started YouTube, I really didn't like the idea of talking with a microphone, and all my early videos were just very simple redstone tutorials without a microphone. But Techno inspired me to start talking to a microphone and trying to express myself in that way. And through that, I joined the Shadowtopia server community, and through them, I met Doge. Of course, without Doge, none of this would have been possible. A lot has been said since his death about, how he brought people together, and I really think that's an example of it. Through the Shadowtopia community, I also met some of my closest friends, like Cheesy Puff and Huffleduck, and then of course I met Potato through the Netherrack War, which of course was another Techno-inspired thing. I had the honor of meeting up with all of them in Scotland in the summer. It was probably one of the most fun 2 weeks of my life, and none of it would have happened without Technoblade. And yeah, I think it's fair to say that he deserves his place in Snowdon, watching over the monsters of the underground as their protector. What do you want? You called me mid-recording. I am busting out some epic voice lines right now. Hello?
Sorry. I just realized there's a wee little shit trying to make a web on my old computer and the thing, and my laptop.
Yeah, they do that.
Give me a minute.
I will give you a minute. Just one.
That was not as quick as I hoped it would be.
Oh,
What?
I was recording that entire thing. It was like
I didn't even know I left.
It was like, give me a minute. You walk away. That wasn't as quick as I thought it would be. That's going in the video.
Oh, crap, okay.
Something rather interesting happened the other day. I was simply chilling out, I was vibing, and then I get a DM on Discord, right? And the message simply says, wow, you're garbage at Minecraft, find a real job. Now this DM was quite interesting to me because I'm quite used to messages like this, but this one wasn't from my mother. The player's name was Ashton, and for legal reasons, I made all of that up. She's actually really nice, apart from that one time she acted like a serial killer. But we don't talk about that. Anyway, she was asking to join the build team, which for most people, the answer is no. But Ashton is one exception, because Ashton is actually a legend. If you Google Undertale in Minecraft, there's a good chance, if it looks good, it's by Ashton. Particularly her Ruins builds, they were excellent. Her Ruins builds were actually a huge inspiration for us when we were doing our Ruins build. So when we got the DM from her, we were mildly excited. The first thing she made in the Undertale build was the spider bake sale room in the Ruins, and we were not ready for what came next. Look at what she did. Look at this build. Look at it.
It's so cool. This is genuinely so cool. Look at this. Look at how vibrant it looks. Oh my word. This is genuinely just jaw-dropping. It's so good. It's like actually so good. And then like the river next door, we've put the river next door to this room. It's so cool. Like, look at this design. It's so vibrant and colorful, and inject this build into my veins. I love it so much.
Me and Doge were also busy in this time. We made this room here in the Ruins. Doge did most of it, but it does feature my trademark floor design, which is absolutely gorgeous, if I do say so myself. And this build actually highlights a couple of questions, because Ashton's build style is very different to the way me and Doge have been doing it. So I don't quite know whether we should kind of keep the build style separate, or maybe just commit to one, or try and blend them. I'm not quite sure, but I'm sure we'll figure it out. We also have a bit of an update at the start of the Ruins. We've got the redstone door wired up to a redstone puzzle now. So if you stand on the pressure plates, the lights lamp up. The lights lamp up? Is that a sentence I just said? God damn it. Anyway, yeah, you get the idea. If you enter the pattern that's in the game, the door opens. If you step on another pressure plate, the door closes. Originally we were going to have the lights on the floor, but that was a bit too complicated, so we went for a much simpler design. If you're wondering what this weird contraption here is, it's basically an instant repeater. It basically means there's less delay for the lamps lighting up. And the reason we're this far underground is that I didn't want pistons to be heard from in the game. It just adds to the immersion a little bit. And finally in the ruins, me and Ashton kind of had a similar idea where we wanted to make habitats for all the different monsters that live here. For example, Frogget would probably like to live in a swampy location, and Luke's would probably like to live in an optician. Now, Migosp is found towards the end of the ruins, and we do have these kind of pits that we never filled out from episode 3. So we decided to make a kind of beehive habitat in one of these holes. And it's quite interesting. We've got honey blocks in the floor. I know that's not normally how bees do honey. They don't normally just go along and just leave a pool of honey in the floor. But, you know, this is Migosp. This isn't a regular bee, and it looks cool with the ruins colors. So, look, we're taking a bit of creative liberty, all right? Like, we're not taking this too seriously. With that said, these bees do give me PTSD. Because the other day I was minding my own business, and actually, hang on, let me set the scene. Here we go, this is good. So there I was, minding my own business in the bathroom. And basically one of the most traumatic events in my life happened. Now, I've known trauma in my life. I've witnessed pain, suffering. I've even witnessed Dream SMP Twitter. Oh god. So there I was, pulling on some pants. And I mean actual pants, not American pants, you dumb fuck. Anyway, I felt a sharp pain from my left buttock. I cried out in pain. What was it? I gingerly peeled away my pants, expecting to see a thorn of some kind. And what I saw instead was a giant hornet. It was absolutely giant, and its eyes were looking straight into mine. I let out a whimper of fear, but the hornet sensed my fear and turned and walked straight into my butthole. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the story. That's a true story, by the way. Alright, that's it. I'm done. I've had enough of this video. I basically, I've spent a while on this. I added up the replay files, and it turns out I did 93 hours of building this episode, which is quite a lot, and that doesn't count editing, recording, or time-lapsing. So, yeah. With that said, it also doesn't count the time I spent spinning around in circles. Anyway, I'm going to leave you with the best bit of Undertale trivia of all time, alright? You ready for this? Migosp dances to the exact beat of Death by Glamour. And once I had that piece of information, you know what I had to do.
Hello, everyone. It is I, the great Papa. What the fuck?